All right, hey everyone, Jeff here at StopThePirates.blogspot.com. It's Tuesday? The 8th of December, 2020. So anyway, I'm just going through some of these old articles here, and I thought I'd maybe talk about one of them. Law is contract universally and in the U.S., so we must follow the progression of contractual agreements, which constitute the underlying U.S. law. We cannot address all individual laws and cases, for it would take a lifetime to review them all, even though ignorance is no excuse. The millions of laws and statutes and codes, etc., in private admiralty jurisdictions. The U.S. is a corporation of the English Crown. It's bankrupt and has been since at least 1788. The Articles of Confederation states in Article 12, all bills of credit emitted, monies borrowed, and debts contracted by or under the authority of Congress before the Assembly of the United States in pursuance of the present Confederation shall be deemed and considered a charge against the United States for payment and satisfaction, whereof said United States and the public faith are hereby solemnly pledged. So basically what you have with this Bill of Rights is it's a promissory note. It's a promise to pay. And why would they make this and then give it to the English Crown? Because they owe them money. And here's our game plan, and we're going to pay you all back using these people over here. The Founding Fathers, as constitutors, acknowledged and reorganized the debt in the United States Constitution in 1787, Article 6, hence Constitution. Bankruptcy occurred on January 1st, 1788, based on 21 loans that the United States of America received from the King of England, dating from February 28th, 1778 through July 5th, 1782, the repayment of which had been ratified by Congress on January 22nd, 1783. The United States Bank, created in 1791, was a private bank with 18,000 of the 25,000 shares owned by England. No de jure constitutional Congress has existed since March 27, 1861, when 7 of the southern states walked out of Congress, leaving Congress without a quorum for adjourning and therefore ending sine die, without day. That which is called Congress today assembles and acts under the authority of the President, acting in capacity of being Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces under emergency war powers rule, i.e. law of necessity, i.e. no law. Since the above reference date, March 27, 1861, Americans have been under fascist rule by a presidential executive order under the aforementioned emergency war powers, 12 U.S.C. 95 A and B. Every citizen of the United States is now legally established as an enemy via the Amendatory Act of March 9, 1933, 48 Stat. 1. Amending Trading with the Enemy Act of October 6, 1917. House Resolution 4960, Public Law Number 91. On December 6, 1865, the 14th Amendment was proclaimed and is ratified, even though it was never properly was. The 14th Amendment, which is private Roman Catholic ecclesiastical trust law, constitutes a constructive custodial trust, a public charitable trust, PCT, that was expressly designed to bring every corporate franchise artificial person called a citizen of the United States into an inseparable merging with the government until the two are united, with power held by the government, not the people. The custodial trust is fundamentally different from a regular trust, which is express, clear, definite, explicit in nature, and consists of a contractual indenture involving 3 parties: grantor, creator or trustor, trustee, and beneficiaries. In an express trust, legal ownership is transferred by written contract between grantor and trustee, in which the grantor surrenders ownership of the property to the legal person. The trust to be managed by the trustee on behalf of those who are to benefit from the arrangement, the beneficiaries. A custodial trust, on the other hand, differs from an express trust in several crucial ways. A, it's not formed by express contract, i.e. overt agreement expressed in writing, but by legal construction, i.e. fiat. B, the Sustake Trust has no grantor, but being a constructive trust created by operation of law, i.e. by make-believe, has only co-trustees and co-beneficiaries. The co-trustees are the parties with the duties for managing property for the public good, i.e. for the benefit of those designated as co-beneficiaries. The Legislative Act of February 21st, 1871, 41st Congress, Session 3, Chapter 62, page 419, chartered a federal company entitled United States, aka US Inc., a commercial agency originally designated as Washington, D.C., in accordance with the so-called 14th Amendment, which the record indicates was never ratified. There's a Utah Supreme Court Diet versus Turner, if you want to look that up. A citizen of the United States is a civilly dead entity operating as a co-trustee and co-beneficiary of the PCT. The Constructive Sustake Trust of US Inc. under the 14th Amendment, which upholds the debt of the USA and US Inc. in Section 4 of the 14th Amendment. In conformity with the above referenced creation of the United States in 1871 and the 14th Amendment, the legislature of each state created a limited liability corporation chartered in a private military international commercial admiralty maritime jurisdiction entitled State of, all capital letters, California, as evidenced by inter alia, the change in the seal and the creation of a new constitution, e.g. Constitution of the State of California, 1879, concerning which California. General partnership agreement hereinafter general partnership exists between the California Republic, 1849, and State of California, 1879, with State of California acting as governmental controller. State of California, all caps, now acts as an agent instrumentally of the United States, collecting whole life insurance premiums known as taxes for the International Monetary Fund based on inter alia upon the Limited Liability Act of 1851 and the bankruptcy of the United States of 1933. See House Joint Resolution 192 of June 5th, 1933, Public Law 73-10, Perry versus U.S. Inasmuch as all law is contract and contract involved in a constructive trust is an implied contract, an implied contract can be ratified by two means. Acquiescence by silence, i.e. the government asserts its intentions concerning your life, rights, and property, and you assent, and you don't rebut, and compliantly go along with all that they claim. In 1871, the government changed the nature of its contract with the people from law as defined by the original Constitution of 1787 that reorganized law, common law, admiralty on the sea only, and equity functioning by voluntary contract between all participating parties, and began relating to people as if they were citizens of the United States within under the private commercial international maritime jurisdiction of the new de facto corporation, i.e. the United States Incorporated. They offered people a new deal, and almost everyone bought it based on naive and foolish trust and assuming that everything was okay. The people were thereby denied access to law and placed on the ship of the state of the United States Incorporated, where the captain's word is law and no one has any rights. Two, you expressly accept benefits offered by the government and thereby finalize the contract by deed. This is similar to finalizing a contract with a restaurant by sitting down at a table, reading the menu, and then ordering and consuming a meal. By your deeds, you affirm to the restaurant that you will pay for the meal in accordance with the price stated on the menu. No written contract is signed, but the contract is formed nevertheless. By the above two means, people give implied assent that they are bound by an alleged contract with the United States Incorporated, in accordance with the terms and conditions that inhere in being treated as citizens of the United States under the 14th Amendment, and are therefore placed into permanent legal status as a debtor and surety for United States Incorporated. In such a position, people leave the ground of sovereignty and all capacity for asserting their unalienable rights in favor of being presumed as having exercised their sovereignty and free will autonomy for the purpose of going along with the government's assertion that they sacrifice everything for the public good, the public trust. By doing so, people lose their standing in law, i.e., they die a civil death in the law. They are placed in the legal position of mortmain, i.e., as if deceased, and are shorn of capacity for asserting their rights, since the presumption is that they have already exercised those rights for the purpose of being placed in the position that they are in, property of the government with a lien against them and everything their lives of labor could ever create, including children. The private being, the real individual, is sacrificed for the good of the public, the imaginary collective. And when people die such a civil death, in the law, they are like ghosts and thereby incapable of managing their own affairs and enjoying their unalienable rights. Like the estate of a decedent, they are then managed by the executors or the administrators of the estate in probate. Such is the condition of every citizen of the United States today in law, managed by the government agencies acting as executors administrators of their estates in bankruptcy, legal incapacity, and civil death as assets of the bankrupt United States. The U.S. is a property of a private real parties of interest, the creditors in bankruptcy. And that hits home especially to me because I recently had someone pass away in my life, and I was designated the administrator of their estate because they died intestate. And I just this is what's happening to all of us. So we're all like civilly dead, and we give authorization to them to handle our estate. When all you really need to do is file some paperwork and take it back and say, hey, I'm not dead. I'm not dead. I'm here. I'm alive. Look, see? And then they can't go around and anyway, this article goes on, and I'll leave a link to it down below, but with everything that's happening right now, it's a Green New Deal. It's the bankruptcy is due, the money is due, and they can't pay it. So they're either defaulting or they're giving us a new deal, which is going to be a lot more restrictive. And with the Axine vase, I'll Ixpay and Inkpay Atlay. I wonder if the what do you call it? The imputer Ks can, I don't know, I can't speak any good. So everybody start talking in Pig Latin. Maybe the algorithms will pick it up. So you see what's happening right now. The debt is coming due. All these baby boomers are retiring now, and they want their money. You think it's just a coincidence that the first Axine vase that are going to come out are going to go to the elderly. And it's not just one, it's like multiple. Old people can't take that kind of it's going to okay a lot of people pay on the antation play. So just be aware of that. And when you eliminate the debtor, you eliminate the debt. And they filed so much debt onto us, it's just, you know what I've noticed too is that, because I do monitor the enemy propaganda programming sites that are on all day, and they're coming out with a tracking thing for your phone now. I'm going to show you guys this. Always, when you leave your house, put this thing into this thing. Turn it off. Look, I can even, and I do this a lot, take the back off. The first time I did this, because when you turn your phone off and you take the battery out, there was actually another kind of a antenna wrapped around this, and I took that off. That's plugged onto there. So even when you turn the phone off, this thing keeps beeping, or keeps like, contacting the, communicating with the towers, the antennas. Anyway, turn it off, put it in here when you leave the house. good to go. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, so up until every commercial on TV, and you guys probably notice this too if you watch it, and I don't recommend you do unless you're awake and you know what you're seeing is propaganda, is for people to sign up for Medicare, right? You get your free Medicare, and that's going to be that's a lot of money for the U.S. corporation to spend. And that's how they're going to track down the old people too. That's how they're going to find them, through their Medicare cards, and they're probably just going to come right to your house. But anyway, if you'd like to learn more about this kind of esoteric type stuff, go to stopthepirates.blogspot.com. I'll leave a link down below. And stay tuned. I'm going to put out more information. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.